Now, you know, when you go to a Chinese takeout, there are always a couple of items that are given, guaranteed. You're going to find it in every single Chinese takeout. Egg foo young,
Sweet sour pork.
sweet sour pork, chicken chow mein. Well, you know, it's no different here at Ignition when we get to review a Chinese brand, because we've got this checklist of definites, guarantees, things you are gonna get in every Chinese car.
The smell of cabbage.
Yeah. That's the fact that they have built a car that just doesn't fit anybody who's taller than 5'2". The seats hit you in funny places, your legs knock everything. Ergonomically, a nightmare.
And you're going to have a sloppy gearbox as a final thought. It's always just neither here nor there.
Hit and miss.
Yeah.
Well, now there's a brand that I've never heard of before. Landwind. Or Bergwind in South Africa. Combination?
Of Changan and JMC, which is two brands we are aware of in this country, but the Landwind is their first SUV to hit the South African market. So let's run through that checklist. Can't smell any cabbage.
Well, that's good. It means my fart doesn't stink. No, that's number one. But okay, I unfortunately cannot tick off the comfort spot, because for me, I have got this ridge running right across my shoulder blades. Maybe not so bad for you, because obviously I'm a little bit taller.
No, I can feel it. It's there.
But ergonomics, they're always like, even here, I've got the cubby hole chomping onto my shins.
Yeah.
It's just, they just get the proportions wrong. It's like a Chinese car, no, but it's certainly not for a world market.
Well, and also there's no height adjustment on the driver's seat. I mean, that's a very, very basic thing.
But what I was impressed with, at least the steering's got height adjustment and reach.
It does. Well, that's
cool.
why it's even stranger that there isn't height adjustment on the seats. Okay, third thing was?
Gearbox.
Let's see. Change up. You know what? It's not going to blow your hair back. It's a bit floppy, but it's probably the worst part of the drive because it's got a fantastic engine, 2-litre manual car that we're driving, and it's a turbo and it goes fantastically. It's
amazing how the Chinese have almost gone where the Japanese have been scared to go, and that's turbo technology. But I suppose they're jumping that whole generation gap. And this 2-litre turbo, 140 kilowatts, 250 newton meters. I mean, I know we always talk about it on figures, but it's actually got some really good in-gear acceleration, which is what I enjoy for overtaking. It's
Absolutely, it's fantastic. It really drives nicely, and it reminds me in its feel of the car that I learned to drive in, which was a Toyota Taz. You know, it's got that Japanese feel to it, which is not a bad thing at all, to say it feels like a 3 generations ago Toyota.
It's funny, we spoke about, I mean, a while back we had like Nissan and their Patrol, where they're just good, honest cars. And that's what has impressed me with this. From a drive perspective, it actually feels like a really solid, well put together car. Besides the little irritating elements, it actually drives really well. I mean, they've got their torsion beam independent suspension, the rear McPherson's in the front, so it's stuff that all the other manufacturers have, and they always seem to have it, but they don't get it to work well. This works.
As one tester in our office said, you forget you're driving a Chinese car, which is a great thing.
Interior-wise as well, Lindsay, I quite like, I mean, they've obviously got the split-level dash, which for them is quite a big design element, and it makes the interior quite interesting. But I like the hard plastic up top, the knobbly effects. It actually looks pretty cool. It looks like it's softer than it is. Underneath, though, I don't like the old shiny plastic, but not a bad interior.
It's not, you know, it's very neat, very simple, very tidy. I like that about it. In terms of the quality of the materials, you know, the car's 290,000 Rand, so let's not forget that.
I suppose that is the big selling point, 290 grand.
You know what you're getting for that is a lot of space. This car is noticeably bigger than other kind of family SUVs. In the back, there's a lot of extra leg space.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. I mean, boot is much of a muchness, but obviously with you in your driving position, tons of space. But even behind me, somebody would sit quite comfortably.
I think so, yeah.
But I suppose the big question is, you know, you can get into a reputable, when I say reputable brand that we've known for a long time here, Nissan with a cash guy for 300,000. Sure, it's entry level in terms of its spec, but that's 10 grand more.
Yeah, but the power is not the same. I looked at the figures and, you know, you look at something like the SX4, yes, that's cheaper, and you might feel a bit more, you know, secure buying a Suzuki, but the power is down. You're not going to get the same drive as this. It's really impressive to drive. you talk about the spec, that is one thing that's a little bit disappointing with this. There's not even radio controls on the steering wheel, which would be nice to have. The lights don't switch off when you switch off the ignition. That's a little annoying. You know, Marius, the only thing you can really see all that clearly on the outside of this car is the badge, and I quite like it actually. It's like a Lexus badge that's been a bit squashed, caught in a headwind or something.
That's been caught in a Landwind. But we can't blame them for branding the car. I mean, no one's heard of this. First time ever in South Africa, so I suppose you want to get your name out there as much as possible.
It is a joint venture though between two brands we do know, JMC and Changan. They've both been in South Africa a while, so there is that.
But I suppose for a consumer, there's always the concern about if I buy Chinese, am I going to have a well put together car? Is it going to be a quality drive? Is it going to be up with the more reputable brands?
No need to worry about the drive. It really does drive nicely. There's nothing wrong with being behind the wheel of this car. And what we can't speak of though is the service and durability. They've got a 3-year warranty and a 2-year service plan attached to the car, so there is that.
But if I said to you, Lindsay, I want to spoil you, I'm going to get us Chinese takeout, you'd be like,
I'd be a bit disappointed.
It's hardly a spoil now, is it? So spend a little bit more and you don't need to eat Chinese.
Depends what you want from a car.